Good evening and welcome to the Pocket Ocho podcast. He's Pocket Silverman's a West Coaster living in the East Coast. I'm Alan the Ocho Goldberg, East Coaster living in the West Coast. And together we make up the Pocket and Ocho podcast. How you doing tonight, Pocket?
I'm doing okay. I'm trying to live. I'm doing okay. How you doing?
We're all trying to live. Some of us are succeeding better than others, I guess, at this point, you know?
Yeah, I was just discussing this today. I don't know if you want to talk about how the fact that some people are going outside and being like, oh, it's fine, I'm not going to get the disease. Only a certain amount of people get the disease. But, like, the thing is, they're sort of right. Like, only a small percentage of people get the disease. But that's the issue, because those people get the disease and they die.
Yeah. And technically, you could have already had the disease and not known about it,
Absolutely.
which adds to the craziness.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, like, they're kind of right?
Right.
Because they're like we're not gonna get the disease, and like because there's no way to kind of come to them and be like, you're completely wrong. Well, their entire family was healthy, this entire apocalypse, but because of them, 2 people died. You just can't come to them and directly put that causation. So
sure. It's part of the challenge we face in the modern world. Because even the expression "staying home saves lives," staying home always saves lives every day of the year. You don't get in a car, you're not going to get into a car accident. You know.
So that's why I stay indoors and play video games all day, man.
There you have it. You're always being a hero.
I'm always being a hero, I guess.
These aren't the unordinary times. This is typical Pocket. Hero 24/7.
No,
staying at home plate, living in New York City, you don't even have to drive a car. You just, just walk places.
I don't even go anywhere. I let my I have friends who are bringing over groceries and stuff. And I've been very lucky in that sense. Haven't had to go out. I'm not an essential employee. I'm not an employee at all. I'm job looking again. Job finding, whatever. I look and we'll see the results. And like you said, it is the time of our lives. I think I said that to someone. They're like, it feels like I'm doing time. And then I said, oh, it's just like the Arrested Development joke. I'm doing the time of my life, because it's just playing more video games and talking to people without having to leave my apartment. This is what the apocalypse has done. We spoke about doing this podcast for how long? And now because of the apocalypse, we're doing stuff,
That's the right attitude. Things are happening that wouldn't be happening otherwise. You know.
I do like the change. It's so different. It's so weird. I don't know. Is it kind of weird that I got so excited when I heard a pandemic was going on, just because it's something different, it's something new and exciting. It's a horrible thing. Right. Don't get me wrong, it's super horrible, but it just made me happy that there's some interesting thing going on in the world.
That's a very interesting topic to explore on many different levels. I don't know if it makes you a sociopath, so I don't know if you want to go there or not, but you
can. Go where you want to, feel this out, but it just was, in a weird sense, it doesn't, because this is the first time in forever that the world is uniting over something. Most of the world. That is a weird thing to be positive about. I don't know. Yeah, totally rag on me for being a sociopath here.
No, but I want to get to that. The greatest tragedy is 9/11. Also, the people came together like none other. Everybody was helping to load trucks. Strangers were just helping people out, and we're seeing that again. The good of humanity. Also, we're also, we'll get back to this in a second, but also just general stuff, like we're appreciating people in jobs that we were not appreciating so recently. Sanitation workers are now heroes. Checkout cashiers at grocery stores, frontline heroes now.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, you're right, and it's very interesting because people were like, my job doesn't make a difference. Like, I had a friend in college who was like, I don't know, if I can't be a doctor, then I can't help people, and I don't like it. I'm like, grocery clerks help people, janitors help people, everyone helps people. Like, there is a purpose to your job, or you wouldn't be paid to do it.
And that is definitely a positive lesson to have taken from this pandemic. everybody's contributing to make society better.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Absolutely.
So go on about me being a psychopath.
So yeah, I mean that's what our listeners want to discuss.
That's what we want to know, right? That's what we want to kind of explore. Or really, we can even diverge from that. Like we can talk about other things, but
we'll get to other things. But let me just ask
please.
Like a lot of people try to plan their lives.
Yes.
For those who know the two of us, we're not exactly the best at planning more than 30 minutes ahead.
I've been so good about that. I've been so good about that lately. I had a stable job for a significant amount of not that much time. But yes, we are both known for that.
Yeah. So is one of the things, like, my dad had his life planned to the minute for the next 5 years. He basically booked flight tickets the day they want. Like, you can't buy a plane ticket more than a year in advance. He would book his plane tickets the first second that they were available, and like he would ask me if I wanted to meet him. I'm like, I'll book my ticket the day of the flight. I'll show up at the airport and I'll see you there. But don't bother me for 364 more days.
Yeah, I mean, my brothers used to talk about me to their friends because their friends would ask, like, "Oh, what's your brother up to?" And they're like, "He's the wandering samurai." He just, that's
the wandering samurai. Ocho, Captain Planet. We got a
Captain
lot of
Planet. Where in this did you become Captain Planet? I like it. Don't get me wrong. I'll run with it.
Hey, I haven't left like a 5-block radius in like a month now. It's going.
Oh, for sure.
I'm going stir crazy.
Oh yeah. But, I mean, you're able to get groceries and everything.
I will say this: the grocery stores in Los Angeles, like, I go in, they may be out of stuff in the morning. By nighttime, they're refilled. They're very happy to have
That's
more
crazy.
business. What a phenomenon.
Yeah. I mean, out here we have the people cheering at 7 p.m. every day. Does that happen by you too?
No, we don't have that type of unity. I miss New York for people getting on their balconies and just cheering.
Yeah, one of my roommates was upset that they're like playing music themed to New York. So it was like Concrete Jungle and other music that has New York in it. And one of my roommates was just like, they do this for 5 minutes at 7, and I'm upset now. And because it was past that 5 minutes. It might have been like 20 minutes after. But it was also like, I don't know, I thought it was nice. I thought it was nice that people are unifying or being more unified, whatever the correct freaking grammar is.
Yeah, you can never complain about unity. People being nice to people is just basic good. In the eternal words of Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other, man.
Yes. Oh my God, that should be on my walls. But also, it's very funny too because they cheer at 7, right? So everyone's happy at 7 p.m. But before then, if you go outside, everyone is upset. They're not looking at each other. If you walk away from someone, it's the thing to do. Like you can't look each other in the eyes. I was sitting there on the street, in front of my house, like on the stoop, and talking to someone 6 feet apart, of course. And I would say, stay safe, stay healthy to people who walked by, and they would be caught so off guard because nobody right now is willing to talk to each other.
Yeah, you're a lunatic, dude. Talking to random people.
I know. I'm living on the edge.
It's like I also did that. Finally, I hadn't seen a soul except like random people. I finally succumbed and had a stoop, and I met a friend for beers. And like all of a sudden, a cop comes over, and I'm like, "Oh no, outdoor drinking's still a problem." He's like, right. Are you guys 6 feet apart? Couldn't care less that we were drinking beers in public, but just he's like, yeah, you're 6 feet. Your guys are good. I'm like, thanks, officer. It's like the times have changed.
The times have changed, and I find it so interesting. And I dare I say I like it. I mean, yeah, I don't have a job partially because of it.
Neither do I, man. Neither do I.
Yeah.
So,
But think about it. We're gonna look back on this and be like, hey, remember when we got to stay inside all day? Remember when we didn't have to go to work?
Yeah. How we didn't appreciate it, how like we're like, damn, this was awful. We were stuck indoors all the time.
Yeah. I've been planning out all the Zoom calls, as you know, and I'm just gonna be like, I had this opportunity to like make all these Zoom calls to bring all my friends together. They're not gonna show up after this.
Yeah, definitely. You've brought people together. You're
Right.
listening to the Pocket and Ocho podcast. I'm Ocho, he's Pocket, and we're
Oh, right.
discussing life in general.
Life in general. General life.
So, but I
Exactly.
was back to something before. I was saying,
Yeah.
is like everybody who has made plans,
Yes.
life has, it's gone. You don't know even the science on this disease. It changes from
It
minute.
changes all the time. Yeah, and it's funny too. It's straight up that you make plans and God laughs.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, there's something. I don't. I get what you were saying. It's not reassuring, but it's good to be reminded that, you know what? No, we're not in the control we think we are. All it takes is a few people getting sick in China, and the whole world goes to crap.
Yeah. It's so true. Literally a few people getting sick in China and the whole world goes to crap. Oh
Eating a
man.
bat. Who would have known? Ozzy Osbourne tried it in the '80s, and it wasn't a problem.
We don't even know if it's a bat. Like
We
we
know
don't
nothing.
Yeah.
We've heard it's a bat, but it
We've
might
heard
have
it's
just
a
been the
bat.
Chinese government. It could be anything. We're not going to
Yeah.
speculate. We're an anti-politics conversation here, but
Exactly. No, it's not about that. It's just like it's just crazy. And you know what's funny about all this? I was actually watching the numbers as the pandemic grew. Sorry, as the infection grew in China. And I don't know. I'm speaking about this as someone who knows nothing about pandemics or any of this stuff, but like people kept saying it's not going to reach us. And I
right.
was looking at those numbers, and I'm like, well, it looks like half of this city has the virus, and it's developing in a 14-day, in whatever it is, incubation period. And like I'm seeing the scaling. Like, how do you expect to actually catch this virus? But it's hard for me to speak further on that, because I think it was Dove or someone, was one of our friends, was saying like, hey, it doesn't work like that, because people will just, like, America will catch those people and they will make sure they're quarantined. So it's hard for me to speak to this, but I'm like, did I call this accurately, or did I just call this without knowing that that it was the right thing? I don't know.
Take your lap, take your feel good. Feel like you called it accurately. It doesn't really matter.
It really doesn't matter. It really
I don't
doesn't.
think anybody really could have predicted this, because the asymptomatic carriers were such an unknown phenomenon.
Yeah. But even with something like Ebola,
right.
Ebola. So apparently Ebola is, has come to, I think it, I mean, once again, someone's gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it came to the US, to New York at one point, and it was fine, because Ebola like affects you and then you're dead. So the people aren't riding the subways. There was a good 2 weeks while we were riding the subways, and I was like, they said there was a case, nearby in the US, or maybe there was one in New York. Like I just know I'm walking around with this stuff going around. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be another lasting impact. We're going to have to question cities like New York are built terribly for pandemics.
I know, right? It's crazy.
You can't avoid, if you leave your apartment, even if you take the elevator, you have no idea what germs are there. If you take the stairs, there's people. It's almost impossible to go a day without running into like 20 people, even if you just walk a block away from where you live now.
Yeah, and you walk outside, so you take the elevator, you make sure you wash your hands after. I mean, I forgot this time, so damn me. But you walk outside, and then there's people walking. Like, there's still people walking outside. They're all wearing masks because it's the law now.
Right.
But they're walking, and then I'm like, oh, this guy's 3 feet away from me. Is that okay? We're both wearing masks, and I can't be the only one thinking that. Yeah. And we're walking on the street. The street is only 6 feet, wide. I'm sure there's a legal, like a sanctioned amount that's supposed to be. It's probably like 6 feet wide. So it doesn't really make sense. I have to literally go over to anyone of any cultural background and walk 6 feet away from them, avoiding them. And it doesn't make me super comfortable.
No, it's very challenging. I mean, obviously 6 months ago, if you were walking 6 feet behind somebody with a mask, the person might be scared for different reasons, you know?
Right. It's true. But it was more socially acceptable.
Yeah.
And that's important.
I mean, you see the memes of people walking at the banks and being like, I never thought I'd ask for money from a bank while wearing one of these, you know, like it's.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, you know, it's crazy. It's life
crazy.
nobody.
And then my chaotic self is like, I want to draw on the mask. But yeah, go on.
No, by the way, I bet there's the whole concept with the mask. Nobody really understands the mask. They wear it because the government told it, but they may be wearing the same mask for like a month when it was supposed to have been removed 2 weeks ago, you know?
Well, no,
and like, mask, I put on a mask. I feel safe now, you know?
I could be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure the M95s are supposed to be for 1 day. I mean, honestly, that's a Google thing, but like,
I buy it. I believe it, you know?
Yeah. I've just been using old shirts because I have way too many promotional shirts from conferences. And so I have some that I ripped up, and I'm using the fabric to make masks. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
I mean, it's
a do it yourself home mask, you know?
Yeah, it's really funny because like one of my best friends gave me one of her shirts that she didn't like from the band Brand New. And I think the band members got in trouble for something. I'm sure it was like sexual assault or something. And
obviously.
And so I don't remember if no, I think I had it at the point where someone was like, hey, you know, that's one of the guys who did something very bad with that. I'm like, oh God. So I just have it and I ripped it up and I'm going to use it as a face mask.
You know, that's what we should do with all our Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein t-shirts, you know, turn them into masks at this point.
My whole wardrobe of Harvey Weinstein t-shirts are going to be.
Oh, you also had a few. I mean, I thought I was the only one, you know?
Right. And my one put in pop sweatshirt. Yeah. Yeah, we're
going to say the darndest things t-shirt, Jello,
man, exactly.
You know?
Oh man. See, I'd feel bad ripping the kids say the darndest things t-shirt because the kids were involved in that, you know? Like where is that with you? Like sounds a little bit too much. Yeah.
Thankfully we don't have these t-shirts and we don't have to make these decisions. But
absolutely. I've just got that brand new t-shirt.
I will say this to loyal listeners of the Pocket and Ocho podcast, we're going to give away a special Pocket homemade do-it-yourself mask. We're going to have a promotion where we give away a mask.
Yes,
you know?
we will have a promotion where we give away a mask, and it's going to be a very crappy mask. I guarantee it. If I can, it will be from that damn brand new t-shirt. Ironically, yes, it will be a brand new mask.
See that? You listen to our show, you get gifts. You know, you get a mask. You get a mask.
Yes,
you get a mask.
Everyone gets a mask. You ever see that GIF of the "You Get a Car" GIF, but made with bees? And everyone's losing their minds, and she's like, "You bees, you get bees." And yeah, anywho, freaking gifts.
Speaking of the science on COVID-19, did you happen to see the new articles on whether or not farting could spread the disease?
Farting?
You know? Farting. You know,
I saw the fact that, and this is going to go into dirty territory, that within I'd say bedroom acts, sexual acts, trying to be as PG as possible.
For all the kids listening, we appreciate that.
We appreciate that. The poopy place is the infectious spot, while the other place, the giblets, they're all fine. Apparently, it spreads through the fecal matter.
Yeah. That's really reinforcing. It's an encouraging thought to know. You know.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm no scientist, but like the farting might be, silent but deadly if it carries it.
You just don't know these days, you know?
How could it go through farts? If you're naked, maybe.
Yeah, that was apparently what the article said. The high-level scientist is like, thankfully people still wear boxers and pants, so they're protected, you know? I mean, as much as people walk around without pants on, they're still not naked. There's still a little decency in society.
I'm sorry. Yeah, like how is it that you are going to be in a situation where you are engaging in any spoopy rectum stuff and you're not, as in you're going to be close enough to get that fart breeze from a guy naked. I think you're already
definitely don't want to find out.
You're already going to get COVID. like where in that situation would you not get COVID? Like, why would you be in that situation if you weren't going to do any act that would give you COVID?
That's a hell of a point. So I feel reassured again that no crazy dude is gonna just open his butthole and just fart on me.
Yes. We went to lowbrow humor, but for science.
That's the great things about the modern day pandemic era. Everything lowbrow, highbrow, everything is qualified as science.
Yep. Love it.
Well, let me ask you this.
Please.
You have a lot of friends.
I've heard of friends.
You talk to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
How many of them now are self-described experts when it comes to all things COVID-19?
That's a good question. I don't think my friends care enough. I mean, I assume Greg is my roommate Greg would be a self-described expert because he is on some things. I'm recording a podcast. That was actually Greg. It was his guest appearance.
That cameo will cost us thousands of dollars.
Know. We were live. God damn it, Greg.
Our first guest, Gregory Starr from Long Distance.
Long Distance. Yeah, he made sure that you wouldn't get COVID over the Zoom. Yeah,
a true friend, a true man of the people.
Yeah, my window in Zoom is not 6 feet from your Zoom, so you're taking a risk. But Greg made it okay. With his appearance. Yeah. So I don't think that everyone's being an expert. It's very interesting to me because I immediately looked at honestly, I made some Zoom calls and I made one of the Zoom calls, made them like a camp. And one of the Zoom calls was like more good morning quarantine or whatever. And the news. So I would look at the news every day. So I became a self-described expert. But I don't think anyone else is. I don't even know if we do the news in the morning anymore. Anywho.
Yeah, as and some of our listeners will know, I work in entertainment. I've reported sports, news, and traffic, and now sports, traffic, weather, nobody cares. It's irrelevant. It's like sports is just what's been canceled. Traffic is just like there is none. And people of LA hate it. They're thinking they're thinking it's going to take an hour to go to the supermarket. They're finally escaping their significant others. And all of a sudden it takes 5 minutes to drive and they don't know what to do with their time,
I mean, isn't that the best thing? Getting into LA traffic and there's no traffic. I don't even know if that the world would break. I mean, is it going on right now?
It's almost worth coming to LA just to witness no traffic,
True. That's crazy.
It's all of a sudden you're wow, these are 6-lane highways. It takes a lot of cars to build up these bottleneck traffic.
Yeah, what was the news end up saying then, And now for the sports, this is canceled, right? Or now for the news, here's the same thing you heard yesterday about COVID and sports is canceled and there's no traffic, right? And the weather is LA. So it's the old George Carlin joke where it's it's nice, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But the thing is, I was told that even if it's really nice, we're supposed to portray it as not so nice to entice people not entice people to leave their home.
Yeah.
There may be a few clouds today. It might be dreary for 6.5 minutes, so don't go out of your homes.
That's the thing. I was wondering because this is another topic I brought up with someone. What happens now? Are we actually in a society where there's less content? It's right. Everything seems to have stopped. I watch late night shows now, which is hilarious because I didn't grow up watching late night shows, even though I have family who works in late night. And everyone is doing the show from their home, and it just feels like everything is broken. and they desperately try to fix it, and some people gave up. Like, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't say gave up, but like Trevor Noah and Stephen Colbert, I looked at a call with them today, and they were talking about like, how do you gauge your jokes? There's no audience, there's no feedback loop. They're like, it's like being a musician, and
Yeah.
the audience is your instrument or something. Like, you can't, it's a thing.
It's very true. Like, you're having an off day. I do some stand up on the side. You're having an off day. You're not feeling it, and then you start seeing the crowd laughing and building
Right.
enthusiasm. It infects you. You know, you get more into it. You know,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, I'm making this dude's day. I'm making him laugh. You know, I got to keep doing this, and you want more of the rush. But when you're doing it from your house, you don't even know if people are laughing.
Yeah.
Also, there's a general malaise where people
Yeah.
are like, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever, you
But
know,
you know
like,
what's great about that? The Late Late Show hasn't been doing that. He has the same energy, and I love it. He has the same energy as he did. He's like, I'm just gonna keep trying. He even did a monologue skit where he took the monologue and showed it to his, and had the audience be his staff members on Zoom, and then joked that it was the technical difficulties that was making people not laugh. Like, he was doing actual things. I don't know. I kind of appreciated it. That's all.
yeah, you're definitely seeing some people's intense creativity come to light here and how they're making the best of situations that are very, very challenging.
Yeah, it's I don't blame them for even having that malaise, if you called it that.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's really hard.
it's very difficult. I
Yeah.
mean, I saw like some of these reality shows, like both American Idol and The Voice.
Yeah.
They're now like down to the live shows round. So they're gonna be every singer is gonna be singing from their house.
Are
You
you
know,
kidding
and
me?
no, I can't even imagine what a giant cluster it's gonna be. Like, I almost want
Oh
to
my
tune in
god.
for the first time in years and make it a drinking game or something because it just can't go
Absolutely.
smoothly. You know,
That's why I love all this stuff. I love the chaos. It just sets people on off their axis, and you see what's different. Like, I don't know. Apparently Wendy Williams also is just like eating sandwiches on camera. I love that. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, but like with these shows, like it's been your like if you're on, let's say, The Voice, it's been your dream to sing in front of an audience and the judges,
Yeah.
and now you're singing in front of like your 2-year-old screaming in the next room. You know, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Like, do you have good acoustics in your walls? You know,
Yeah.
it's
Uh
it's a whole world you can't even ever imagine.
yeah, and on top of that, every podcast and every news station and everything is COVID. Even this conversation is COVID, and how it's affecting us.
I'm sure one of the song topics will be best COVID-19 song, you know, best pandemic
Right.
song, you know.
Yeah. One of the YouTubers I was watching looked at, he was like, I think it was, yeah, it might have been Half in the Bag. They're like, what are the Oscars even going to be next year? It's going to be Trolls and Sonic, right?
I can't even I can't even imagine what we're coming to in like movies, entertainment.
Yeah.
It's a truly wild time. Once again, you're listening to the Pocket and Ocho podcast.
Hells yeah.
And yeah, it's but like you said, except for one friend of mine, like, this from the video gaming industry, that there are some people who could just play video games for days and not like be connected to the world.
Yeah, I might know people.
So
Yeah.
like I have a friend when this all started. He's an online poker player, and he lives in his parents' house, and he basically plays from the basement. So like he doesn't
Cool.
really come up much for air, and like he starts messaging me after like a few days. Dude, I can't ever leave the house. There's so many more people playing online poker now. These games are filled with fish. I'm like, have you
Yeah.
watched the news? He's like, no. And he's like, oh my god, I don't have enough toilet paper. What am I gonna do? Like, like.
Yeah, and
Like, it doesn't matter because I'm making too much money. But except for a few people like that, there's no similarity to the life people were living 3 months ago.
yeah, and you know what? You're bringing something up that's also very like important to my life, because that's I'm in a group of friends that doesn't really play video games, or they do, like some have their own video games, but like nobody really plays video games. And now that no one has anything to do, like I have a large friends group of girls who don't play video games, and they're buying Switches now and hanging out and playing Minecraft and Animal Crossing. And Don't even get me started on Minecraft. That is just that's just bliss. I mean, it's a drug. And I was like, someday I hope I'm not one of those Minecraft guys, and now I am, and I don't know what to do with myself.
That's like, that's like the 30 for video. That's like when you turn 30 for video games, you start becoming a Minecraft guy, whether you want to or not,
Well, Minecraft is actually like a young people thing.
Fair enough.
Kids play it. It's crazy, that the game. But also now I have, like, my roommate, Greg, you know him. He's obsessed with boats and stuff. And every time I ask him to play a video game, he's like, no, I have my games. He plays like 2 other games and he hasn't beaten them. And he's like, why would I ever play another game? I haven't beaten the games I want to play. And I'm like, I always propose things to him because I have a ton of video games. I love the like poo-poo platter of video games. So he's like, I'm like, you could build a boat. And he's like, you could build a boat? And so
now you're talking my language, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. He's obsessed with boats. And so now it's like, because he wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for the pandemic, but like I'm able to get more people into video games. I probably diverted from what the actual point was.
Nah, that's quite useful. Speaking of little known facts about Greg and video games, Gregory Starr was a guest at the Video Game Awards this year.
That's true. You guys went to the Video Game Awards. When I found out that Greg was going to the Video Game Awards and I wasn't, and for context, Ocho loves sports. I love video games. It's one of the reasons we even wanted to do this podcast. But yeah, I was like, Ocho's taking Greg. I was the one who loves video games.
But live on the roller coaster at the moment.
That was a dilemma. It was like the next day, and Greg was already in LA or something, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was a very funny moment. I'm like, there's so many people I want to take to the Video Game Awards,
but
Greg's here, so Greg's coming.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully Greg enjoyed it. It was a good time. And like, were there any fun moments you want to talk about from it, or?
It was just fascinating to see. They introduced the new Xbox at the.
That was crazy. So, like, for context, I didn't know the Video Game Awards were a real thing until this happened. So that should tell you a little bit about it. And
right, which shows you that a video game guy himself doesn't know that the Video Game Awards
I didn't know they were a real thing. I mean, maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed the boat there. But like, the video game community was so torn about the Video Game Awards because some of them really wanted it to be a thing, and then it was just this weird commercial for everything in video games, and like things that were not video games. Because they shoehorned in this video game thing. They shoehorned in the Fast and the Furious movie that was coming out with the Fast and the Furious game, and the game looked like total garbage. Like, you don't have to know how graphics are these days to know that game looked like total garbage. And it was just, that's what they ended on. So they announced the new Xbox, which is like a huge deal that they would do at like E3, which is like the big conference.
Right.
And they announced that as just a commercial, just randomly. And people were so confused. Like, did they actually just shadow drop the new Xbox that we've been waiting for 4 years at this random game show? Or maybe it's not less random than I know.
But like, yeah.
And then they had at the end, to end off everything, they had the Fast and the Furious because they got the actor. They got, is it Vince? What's his name? The guy.
Vin Diesel?
Vin Diesel. Yeah, they got Vin Diesel. Right. And so they're like, oh man, I assume they were like, oh man, like here's a star that we can build this whole conference. Anywho, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just very weird is what I have to say on it.
It was very weird. But also, like, I report on a lot of weird events in my life, so like I'm used to strange reactions. But like, people look like they were having a heart attack with excitement over this tower, over this Xbox tower. Like it looked like they had just met Paul McCartney, Michael Jordan, and Jesus at the same time or something.
Well, I mean, like, if I saw the Switch at that, the Switch launch somewhere like that, I would go nuts too. I mean, it's the, video games are experiences, they're worlds, and when you
Correct.
see what the next thing is for that, it can be very exciting for someone like me. I wouldn't go crazy for the Xbox because I don't know what it would do for me. I'm more of a like Nintendo player.
Right.
It just seems it's more powerful while Nintendo goes in weird directions, like the Wiimote, if you remember.
So
Yeah.
interesting.
So anywho, I wouldn't go as crazy, but I can understand why some people would, right? Like if you saw Randy Jackson, who's the only sports celebrity I know. We really should have a counter for how many sports celebrities I know.
Okay, and Randy Jackson is actually a former judge on American Idol and is not a sports celebrity in the
slightest. There we
go.
Who's the one? Yes, who's the one that had?
What's up, dog?
Yeah. Oh man, the one from basketball. Do you remember basketball?
Randy Johnson, the really tall pitcher.
Yes, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Parker and Trey Stone at their finest.
Yes. I said Randy Jackson, so I'm glad that I convinced people that I still don't know what I'm talking about and pissed off some fans.
There goes our one listener, man,
Yeah. I just want to make sure, because this is, whatever, it's going to drive me nuts. The guy from basketball. So if you saw him, would you be excited?
I mean,
I don't know his status at all.
Obviously, I thankfully get to meet a lot of people, but
so if you saw
sports fans would definitely be very excited.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, obviously it's not a great equivalent. Like, what would be a great equivalent? Like a new person that's coming to the scene that has great promise and is doing amazing, maybe.
Right.
That would probably be good.
No, there's definitely athletes. I mean, it's like this in any industry. There are, you see this. I mean, I was at the airport one time flying back to Los Angeles.
This is a rare story.
This never happens. Me flying to the me flying at the airport,
Yeah, for those who aren't acquainted, Ocho is almost currently on a plane. Like, he is consistently and always on a plane. So, anywho, go on.
Yeah, there's actually a pool going on when I'll be on my next flight. When I'll be on my next flight. What do you got, man? What do you got for me taking my next trip?
Airplane? Yeah. You just can't hear the other people on the flight right now because he's social distancing. Yeah.
It's very easy to social distance on airplanes now. Nobody else is,
Is it true? Like, our flight's still like stupid low priced?
No, they've actually gone back to being good prices, but not like, not like so damn tempting that you want to fly because you could eat more food than the cost of the flight. You could get 2 drinks and it paid for the whole trip.
Yeah.
I got some stories about that, but that's not for now. But anyway, I was just saying, like, I get off a plane and there's like 2,000 people lined up at the airport. I'm like, my fans, they come to greet me, and they're all Asian. I'm a little confused, and of course, the band BTS, one of the K-pop sensations.
Yeah. No, it'll be 20,000 people for BTS. Yeah. I don't know what they do, but they have an acronym, and they're.
Neither do I. And then I started thinking, was I talking to the BTS guys? I have no idea. Are they guys? What are they? What does BTS mean?
They are ethereal, legendary creatures that are beyond our realm.
Pretty much, they're heroes. I don't know them personally, but they do great things. And I was just like looking at the reaction of these people, and I have no idea if they ever got to see BTS because I got to get out of the airport. I ain't hanging around. I mean, I actually regret not hanging around just to witness the scene, but it's like that. People go crazy for their heroes.
Their friends. Absolutely. I mean, I'm trying to think who I would go crazy for. Maybe we could use that for like the last bit, or I mean, we'll see if it takes that time. I mean, I don't know if you want to think, but who would you go crazy for seeing?
Alive?
Yeah, I mean, not dead, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah, because I don't think you'd like the way they look.
See, this is an interesting question because there's people who are like currently relevant, and then there's like people like who have an historical significance.
Yeah, so like I can go with one if you want.
Sure.
What do you think? Like one of mine that's been on my list forever. One of mine that's been on my list forever. I've gotten close, but I haven't gotten to meet him. Is more of, like you said, historical significance. Steve Wozniak, the Woz, like the dude redefined the computer. He made it. If you're unaware, he kind of made it the keyboard and the screen that we know today. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to go deeper into that. But he was one of the first creators of color on a computer, because he found a way on his computer to just mess with the heat on what the display was showing, and like create color through heating things a bit more and heating things less. Yeah, it's crazy. Which is not the way it's done today.
We should have a podcast where we talk about Steve Wozniak for like 15 minutes and let the world know all about him. But for now, we're going to get back to the question at hand.
Yes. So you have an answer?
For who I would like to meet?
I mean, I would want to meet Steve Wozniak.
Yeah, that's a great answer. You know,
the closest I got was asking him a question.
I'm going to surprise myself and still go sports, just because.
No, you don't have to not do sports. You should do sports.
For my first answer will be sports, though, because when I worked in reporting sports, there was one guy who everybody wanted to meet no matter what sport they played, and that was Michael Jordan. The aura of Michael Jordan is just so omnipresent. Like, his dedication to his game, like, you just feel if you were in the same room as him, you felt uplifted, and you felt like you knew more than you knew 5 minutes beforehand.
So, like, educate a person like me, a simple plebe, a commoner, because I loved Michael Jordan, but the only reason I loved him was Space Jam. So you have to explain to me, like, I heard that he was just like the best, simply the best. And that was kind of a cool concept, but like, explain to me why I should be excited, you know?
Sure. Well, first off, do you remember the old commercials? If I could be like Mike, I want to be like Mike. It was an old Gatorade commercial.
I don't remember it so well, but I mean, like, it sounds like a 90s commercial, doesn't it?
Yes, it was definitely a 90s commercial. But first off, even some of his fans don't know, Michael Jordan actually got cut from his high school basketball team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just wasn't that good yet. You know,
those are my favorite stories.
Sure. I mean, part of what people don't understand, and this is another topic for down the road podcasts.
Yeah.
My love of sports isn't so much the game; it's the psychology and the human interest stories that are associated with sports. As I was actually explaining to a different friend of ours today, is people could be great in so many things in life, but you have no idea. You have no idea who the best subway conductor is. There's no subway conductor awards,
right.
You know?
It's like some comedians I've heard say, like, the funniest person is not if you know a comedian. It's, the guy at the office who's just pissed off at his job, you know?
Sure. So. And like, even music, it's the best musicians, the guys with the best voices or girls with the best voices, they're not always the most successful,
Right. Yeah.
And guys like, what's his face, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, they could perform forever and people will still show up, will pay to see them show up. In the world of sports, when you no longer are good, you're out of the league. Nobody wants you on the team. Nobody's paying you, Sports is the most meritocracy of a society there is.
So what if you were Michael Jordan?
Then they pay, because you could still sell so many Michael Jordan jerseys.
Yeah, you could.
They pay him money to sit at the end of the bench, but Michael Jordan wouldn't
want
it. He'd be like, hell no, I'm too good for this. Like, if I can't be Michael Jordan, I don't want to be somebody, I don't want to be a has-been.
So true. That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So just very quickly on Jordan is he worked harder than anybody else, and he wanted to win in a way that's been lost in society. Like, in the world of sports, players switch teams all the time if they think they could get a better situation for themselves. Michael Jordan would never have thought of switching teams. This was what he was dealt, and he's gonna make his situation better.
That's great.
He had a work ethic like none other, and there was just this feeling of, like, you gave him the ball with a few seconds left in the game, and he'd make the shot.
That's
You knew he
crazy.
was going to make it. The defender knew he was going to make it. You know.
Yeah, I hear that. That's great. And like I feel like in my life, because I never took any of those like any like sports teams seriously, that I lack that kind of discipline and team ethic that they all have, that like most players tend to have.
Sure.
But like from what you're saying, it's not enough. Like no one's as dedicated as it used to be.
Yeah, it's different. You make more money, you make more money now, and you're friends with the guy. It's sort of become like a lot of other worlds. They're your buddies, so it's not as competitive as it used to be. Like you're not so concerned about your next meal check.
Yeah.
Your meal checks aren't taken care of for a while. Although now maybe you are. I don't know. I was shocked to hear how many athletes were living paycheck to paycheck. It's amazing how many people.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. But celebrities, they're just like us.
But they are, except they're quarantining in their 12-bedroom mansions right now,
Completely. I've got one more if you want to hear it.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'd go with one that is video game related, because I guess we have nothing to talk about. Like our lives are bigger than just sports and video games, but video game related one. So I would go with Masahiro Sakurai. You know Masahiro Sakurai?
Yes, but explain more to our listeners who are not so familiar with Mr. Sakurai.
You don't know who he is. So Sakurai is the creator of Kirby.
No, I did not.
Yeah, no, there's no way you know him. He's the creator of Kirby, and he made my favorite game, Super Smash Brothers, which is, when they talk about crossovers, is the biggest crossover in history. And I would just love to talk to him about video games in general, because when you talk to, I don't know, if you're talking to Disney, right, about Avengers, they have all these different properties, but they own all these different properties, right?
Right.
This guy has crossovers from so many series. It's not just like he got Spider-Man, right? This would be as if Avengers Endgame got Spider-Man, Doctor Who, the Ninja Turtles. Let's see. I'm trying to branch out because, things are owned by different people. Where's Waldo, and like all these other things that are not directly related, but they all have a significance in the industry. He made this crossover that is so encompassing of the industry. And so he's working with all these different, I don't know, it's all these different creative people with creative visions of their characters and franchises. And he finds ways to do it perfectly. So he understands something about, honestly, I don't know, about
right.
all these different entities.
Would you say he's like the Stan Lee of video? Would you say he's like the Stan Lee of video games?
Well, Stan Lee created all those characters, right?
That's true. Right.
So he brought all these characters together, and he made it true to their game. So if you were to play Smash Brothers, and once again, this talk is not about Smash Brothers. This talk is about Sakurai, because if you were to play Smash Brothers and you like playing Mega Man, like you played Mega Man as a kid, he'll play pretty much as if he was Mega Man in his Mega Man game, but he's in a completely different game, and Mario will feel like Mario. Oh, well, that's actually not as much true, but like, the characters come in and they're so true to form, true to what they are. And I think that takes a lot of creative understanding and a lot of creative vision. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to explain there.
That's fully an innovative legend. And
yeah, but like also companies that hate each other. I mean, it's literally,
right.
Yeah.
Right. It's finding a way to bring people together, which is what we've been talking about, how COVID-19 is bringing unity.
Bring us right back. Yeah.
He was able to do it in the video game world, and he sounds like he'd be a fascinating person to have a beer, to sit down and have a beer
with.
Exactly.
And that's really the sum of it. Hopefully I got my essence out there instead of drolling on.
I'll give you another person.
All right, let's do this.
It's actually kind of random, but
yeah, please.
Not at the legend status, but there's something to me about Adam Sandler's career that makes me fascinated.
I've actually met him.
Have you?
Yeah, when I was a kid, there's a photo of me. I mean, I could almost put it on here, but there's a photo of me with him and my brother. And I remember the story. Do you want me to tell the story really quickly? It's like a second.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't know if my brother hated this or if I'm making this up because I was a kid, but he came to us and he drew, he wrote us little, like, he gave us signatures. And he wrote for my brother, he wrote for me that I was a king. And he wrote for my brother that he was a queen. And I don't know why, but that made my day because my, brother sibling rivalry, right? Like, it just made me the most happy person in the world. Whether that's true, and I was like 8 when this happened, maybe younger. Anywho, so I mean, I met him in the Tonight Show like lobby or something.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So you're saying Adam Sandler,
but part of, like, for me is like at the beginning of his career, he did a lot of movies, but he was sort of playing the same character. They changed
absolutely.
And he knew what worked, and he went with it.
Yeah.
And he never, and no matter what people said, he didn't care because he knew he was entertaining people and making people laugh. And
then he doesn't care about. I mean, he cares about everything, I'm sure.
Right.
But like, then he just decided to make movies with his friends and make a ton of money. And
correct.
Who can blame him? But like, I do miss Happy Gilmore. I do miss Billy Madison. Like, we used to have, I think my brother had like a checklist for how many times he watched Billy Madison. And it was it was a fantastic movie.
Yeah, during this pandemic, the amount of times I've quoted either Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison,
yes.
it's daily. It's at least once a day, What
was one of your quotes? Because I had one.
I mean, obviously, I've had to use, after hearing some people talk, I've had to use the classic scene in Billy Madison, like, I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. We are all dumber for having listened,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he said it more deadpan. I award you no points. Yeah, and may God have mercy on your soul.
And I mean, did a better job of it, but yes.
I mean, like, I think wow, I don't understand how often I reference Billy Madison. I swear I did the business ethics reference. People ask me what day it is, and I think I don't know if it's September or October. I was just like, October, right? Which is obviously followed up with Nudie Magazine Day. If anyone is watching this and has not seen Billy Madison, it is nonsense and is one of my favorite movies. Definitely go watch it.
If you haven't seen Billy Madison right now, start watching. It'll help you forget about the pandemic. You'll just watch it 10 times in one day, and you'll have your day taken care of. By the way, if we actually had a Twitter account, now is the point where I tell people to tweet at us what celebrities they would like to meet. But since we don't have a Twitter account, we'll just tell people to think in their mind what celebrities they would like to encounter.
We'll link a Twitter account below, and if not, and if you don't see that, just tweet at me. I'm Pocket, but I have a 0 instead of an O in my name.
There you
have a Twitter.
I do have a Twitter.
We should start tweeting at each other randomly. Just Ocho Sports. That's actually pretty easy. I have a name on Twitter that's 5 letters and it's hard to explain. P0CKT. Like, you can't.
How early did you get that on Twitter? Were you one of the first people?
I had a different username on there. I'm Cybersmart, I think. And it was 6 to 8 months, I think, after it started. And I mentioned it to my brothers and they're like, my brothers always dismiss most things I do like that. But yeah, I was pretty early. I'm always early on these things. I have Pocket on a lot of the different platforms because I'm really early. Yeah.
Yeah. So, by the way, once again, you're listening to the Pocket Ocho podcast. We're in the final 5 minutes of today's show. Time has just flown for all you listening, and but definitely tweet at us what you'd like us to discuss. There's nothing we can't talk about.
Nope.
That's going to be the great thing of the Pocket Ocho podcast.
Yes. We are fools, and we will talk about anything. All we need is your help to make fools of ourselves.
Correct. Even if we don't know a thing about it, we'll just find something to say on it,
Exactly. So, I mean, as you said, we are wrapping up, and I just wanted to see if there's anything you wanted to either bring up or there's that thing that the talk show hosts have been doing where you grab something that's next to you and say something meaningful about it. I'll let you decide what we do next for the 3 minutes we have left.
Yeah, we could close by giving words of inspiration to our listeners.
Yeah, I like that.
But first, I just want to ask one question that's kind of along those lines, but has been challenging people nowadays. People feel they have nothing to look forward to. Do you know, how do you feel on the subject right now?
I am doing the time of my life. I don't know about that. I think it's because people are cooped up,
Right.
which is why I set up all those Zoom calls. Like everyone should set up Zoom calls. Discord is amazing within this. Discord just added video chat. So you could go and hang out passively with people and then pop in a room and you're talking to people and then you click video and these different technologies have made it like nothing ever changed. And like, yes, I lost my job, but I was more stressed about it beforehand. I mean, just not having a job is stressful. It doesn't matter if there's a pandemic. It's just stressful. This pandemic will end. Like things are going to have to change. So it's going to be time. It's going to be staggered. But literally, we're all here, and including our Twitters, we are all here for you, you know?
Absolutely. So, that's definitely words to live by.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get too sappy here, but I will throw out the fact that Pocket and I, we're friends, but I don't know, as two people go, not many people would have ever been like, oh, you need to meet Pocket. Oh, you need to meet Ocho. The two of you will have so much in common.
By the way, I'm going to start hiding. Yeah, I'm going to start hiding because I don't do well with flattery, but thank you. Yeah, keep going.
You wouldn't think we'd have anything in common, and yet I lost track of time, and it's been an hour, and we could honestly keep going for another 2 or 3 hours very easily. You know,
And I appreciate the enthusiasm. The second you started this call with enthusiasm, with an energy level, like that got me excited for this. And that's why we said we would do this, but then we never did. And now we've done it.
So like what I want listeners, viewers to take away from this is be open to opportunities. You know, Absolutely. Be like, yeah, that person could be cool. I don't think they're my style, but truth be told, I worked at sports for a few years doing nothing but sports. None of my friends like sports because when I wasn't working, I wanted to get away from sports. You know, it would be like asking an accountant to just pick all his friends by who could crunch numbers. It's an idiotic way to pick friends, you know?
That's actually great. Are you saying that our friendship is based on me not knowing sports, so it's a good time to hang out?
It helps.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Plus, I travel all the time. You travel once a year. You know?
Yes, exactly. It's so true.
In our opening theme song, we got to pick up on the polar opposites more.
Yes.
You know, but
exactly, because that's what it is, right? It's all about learning. We're approaching the end. Do you want to give like a closing? You opened us up, and you're damn well good at it. I'm not even good at saying that sentence.
Thanks, man. I'll close it up for the two of us. He's Pocket. I'm Ocho. He's West Coast living in the East Coast. I'm East Coast living in the West Coast, and you've been listening to the first edition of the Pocket and Ocho podcast. Tweet at us with your questions, comments, or general ways to make our show better. Thanks for listening, folks. We're out of here.